Let's get right into it. Number 10, replying to all. Picture this. You work at a company of 400 people. Someone named Karen from accounting sends a company-wide email about the broken coffee machine. And then, because the universe enjoys suffering, someone named Dave hits reply all to say thanks for letting us know. And then Janet does it. And then Marcus. And then someone named Phil, who you've never met, responds with just the word noted. For 100 people. 1 inbox. 0 arrests. Here's the thing about reply all. It is completely, totally, offensively legal. There is no law, no fine, no tribunal, nothing standing between Phil and his one-word email prison sentence for the entire organization. And yet, the psychological damage it causes is genuinely measurable. There's a concept in behavioral psychology called attentional residue. Basically, every time your brain gets interrupted by a notification, a chunk of your focus doesn't come back for several minutes. It lingers. It mourns. So a reply all chain of 27 emails doesn't just waste 27 seconds of your day. It carves out chunks of productive thought like some kind of cognitive jackhammer, leaving behind nothing but mild rage and a twitch in your left eye. And the worst part? The people doing it feel helpful. That's the real twist. They believe their LOL same or their little thumbs up emoji reply constitutes meaningful human contribution. The brain's reward system, that ancient dopamine slot machine inside your skull, gets a tiny hit every time someone participates in something group-related. It's social bonding behavior. It's the same impulse that made early humans grunt at each other around fires. Except now it's a gif of a cat saying me 2 cents to 400 professionals trying to meet a deadline. Somehow, someway, hitting reply all remains completely unpunishable by law. You can do it. You can do it again. You can do it 14 times in a row, responding to yourself with gradually increasing levels of enthusiasm. And nothing will happen to you. Legally. Socially, however, you are already gone. Number 9. Stores that play music at a frequency designed to make you stay longer. Walk into any mid-tier retail clothing store, and within 30 seconds you are inside an acoustic trap designed by someone with a marketing degree and zero moral hesitation. The music is loud. It's got bass, pulses, and you, standing there holding a shirt you don't need, have absolutely no idea that you've just been sonically manipulated into slowing down. This is real. It has a name. It's called music tempo marketing, and researchers have been studying it since at least the 1980s. A psychologist named Ronald Milliman ran studies showing that when slower music plays in a store, customers move more slowly, browse longer, and spend more money. When faster music plays, they rush. Stores can literally control your pace like a remote-controlled human browsing robot, and they are doing it constantly, and it is perfectly legal. The reason it works comes down to how your brain synchronizes with external rhythmic stimuli, a phenomenon called entrainment. Your nervous system, that dramatic overachiever, doesn't just hear music. It matches it. Your heartbeat, your breathing, your walking pace, they all start to align with the tempo of whatever's playing. So when a store pumps 60 beats per minute soft pop at you, your body starts operating at 60 beats per minute. You slow down. You linger. You end up standing in front of a rack of identical beige linen pants for 6 minutes wondering if this is finally your linen era. And the volume matters too. Louder music has been shown to increase impulsive buying behavior. It ramps up arousal, which lowers your decision-making threshold. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that says, "Do you actually need this?" gets a little overwhelmed. It retreats. And the part of your brain that says it's on sale and the chorus just drops steps forward enthusiastically. No law exists against this. No consent is required. Nobody hands you a disclosure form at the entrance saying, "Warning. You are about to be rhythmically manipulated into buying a throw pillow." They just play the song. And you just buy the pillow. And it's completely fine. Apparently. Number 8. Draining your phone battery at the airport charging station. There you are. Gate B17. Your flight's delayed by 2 hours because of weather conditions which, based on the perfectly clear sky outside the window, seems to mean the airline is just having a think. Your phone is at 11%. You spot a charging station, rush over like you found water in a desert, plug in, and then someone sits down next to you, plugs in their fully charged iPad just to top it off. and proceeds to occupy that port for the next 90 minutes watching a cooking show at full volume without headphones. This is legal. This person will face zero consequences. They will board their flight refreshed and fed on parasocial pasta content while you stewed at 11% for an hour and a half before finding a different outlet behind a trash can. But here's where it gets psychologically interesting, because this behavior isn't just rudeness. It's a documented failure of something called common resource management, which researchers study under the broader umbrella of social dilemma theory. The basic idea is this: when a resource is shared and limited, individual self-interest consistently overrides collective benefit, even when everyone would be better off cooperating. It's sometimes called the tragedy of the commons. Economists love it. Airport charging station users live it in real time. Your brain, when it spots a shared resource like a charging port, makes a fast subconscious calculation. If I don't take it, someone else will. So you take it, even when you don't really need it. Even when someone next to you is visibly at 9%, gripping their phone like it's a hand grenade. The logic isn't malicious. It's just ancient resource hoarding instinct dressed up in a North Face vest. What makes it worse is a cognitive bias called the spotlight effect in reverse. Most people dramatically underestimate how visible and irritating their behavior is to others in public spaces. The guy with the full battery and the pasta video doesn't think he's doing anything notable. In his mental model, he's basically invisible. He's not. You can see him. Everyone at gate B17 can see him. He is the villain of this terminal and he doesn't even know it. Still legal though. Every bit of it. Bring a portable charger and a therapist. Number 7. Loud chewing in a quiet open-plan office. Some sounds are just sounds. A car horn. Rain on a window. A dog barking down the street. Your brain files them, notes them, moves on. And then there are sounds that crawl inside your skull and rearrange the furniture. The slow, wet, aggressive crunch of someone eating a raw carrot at their desk 2 feet away from you in a silent office is one of those sounds. And eating at your desk is, in most places, entirely unrestricted. Here is a thing that is real and has a clinical name: misophonia. It translates roughly to hatred of sound, and it's a neurological condition in which certain specific sounds, typically eating noises, breathing, pen clicking, trigger an immediate, intense emotional response. We're talking irritation that jumps to rage in about half a second. Research has linked it to abnormal connectivity between the auditory cortex and regions of the brain associated with emotion and the fight-or-flight response. So when someone near you opens a bag of chips during a quiet moment, your nervous system is not being dramatic. It is genuinely, physiologically, being attacked. The sound enters your ears and gets routed directly to the part of your brain that handles threats. Your body gets ready to either flee the chips or fight them. Studies suggest somewhere between 10 and 20% of people experience misophonia at a clinically significant level, which means in any average open-plan office, multiple people are silently white-knuckling through their colleagues' afternoon snack ritual every single day. They are not overreacting. They are coping. They are surviving. And the person eating the carrots has no idea. They're just having a snack. They're hydrating through vegetables. They're making excellent nutritional choices loudly and legally and with complete structural immunity. Open-plan offices, combined with the legal right to eat literally anywhere, have created the perfect psychological pressure cooker. You can't say anything without sounding unhinged. You can't leave because you have a 2 p.m. You just sit there, absorbing carrot, aging visibly. Number 6. Sending a voice note instead of just typing. Somewhere out there, right now, someone is recording a 4-minute voice message to ask a yes or no question. They're doing it on purpose. They feel good about it. And the person on the receiving end is going to have to find their earphones, plug them in, skip through 30 seconds of ambient kitchen noise and false starts, just to hear the word "yeah" buried at the end like a prize in a cereal box nobody asked for. Voice notes are legal. They are built directly into every major messaging app on Earth. There is infrastructure supporting this. Engineers got paid to make this feature work smoothly. And in doing so, they handed the world a completely consequence-free way to externalize your cognitive effort directly onto another person's time. Here is what's actually happening when someone sends a voice note instead of typing. They are making a unilateral decision that their convenience is worth more than yours. Typing requires you to organize your thoughts. You have to sequence them, compress them, make them linear and parsable. It's work. A voice note bypasses all of that. You just open your mouth and let the stream of consciousness pour directly into someone's life at a time and place they didn't choose, in a format they can't skim, at whatever ambient noise-soaked audio quality your kitchen provides. Psychologists call this effort substitution, offloading mental processing costs onto someone else under the appearance of communication. And your brain loves it because it gets to feel like it completed a task without actually doing the compression work that makes communication efficient. You talked. You sent. You're done. Meanwhile, the recipient is now standing in a meeting pretending to check their email while secretly trying to listen to your 4-minute stream of consciousness about what time dinner is. The worst version is the voice note chain. Multiple messages. Each one a fragment. Each one requiring a separate play. Hey, play so I was thinking. Play about Thursday. Play you're not communicating. You're running a podcast nobody subscribed to. Still legal. Fully supported. Zero recourse. Type the message or face the moral consequences in your own heart. Number 5. Stopping at the top of an escalator. Imagine you're on an escalator. It's carrying you upward with the steady mechanical confidence of a system that has one job and does it without complaint. You arrive at the top. The flat ground appears, and the person in front of you just stops, right there, at the exact threshold where moving stairs become normal floor. They stop to check their phone, to look around, to recalibrate their entire existence, blocking the exit point of a machine that is still delivering people toward them at a fixed mechanical rate. This is legal everywhere. No city ordinance. No fine. No trapdoor. Just you, trapped on a moving staircase, unable to go forward, unable to go back, slowly being compressed toward a human traffic jam that one person created by treating the top of an escalator like a contemplative rest stop. What makes this particular behavior so psychologically fascinating is that it almost never comes from malice. It comes from a glitch in situational awareness, specifically a phenomenon researchers call inattentional blindness, the failure to notice something completely visible when your attention is focused elsewhere. The person who stopped isn't thinking about the escalator behind them. They've already mentally exited the situation. Their brain closed the escalator file the moment their feet hit flat ground. The incoming crowd doesn't register because they're not looking for it. They are, cognitively speaking, already somewhere else entirely. This is the same mechanism that makes people stop walking in a doorway to have a thought, or pause at the end of a grocery store aisle to check their list, or stand directly in front of a coffee shop door while deciding if they want coffee. The brain completes the transit task and then immediately hijacks the body for the next internal process, without checking whether the body is still in a location that matters to other humans. Your irritation is valid. Your inability to do anything about it is equally valid. The escalator does not care. It will keep delivering people. The human at the top will keep standing there, blissfully unaware that they have briefly become a one-person infrastructure failure. Totally legal. Cosmically annoying. Part of the shared human experience whether you like it or not. Number 4. Reclining your airplane seat the full amount. The airplane seat recline button is one of the most controversial 2 inches in modern human civilization. You press it, your seat tips back, and the person behind you, who is already existing in a space roughly the size of a generous coffin, now has approximately the same legroom as a folded lawn chair. Their tray table is now at a 40-degree angle. Their laptop screen is inches from their face. Their drink is slowly sliding toward them like a tiny, beverage-shaped avalanche. And you are reclined. You are comfortable. You are completely within your legal rights. Airlines designed this feature. They put the button there. They tested the mechanism. They decided that every passenger is entitled to those 2 inches of backward tilt regardless of what it does to the geometry of the person directly behind them. So technically, morally, you are operating within the system as intended. And yet, surveys consistently show that seat reclining is one of the top sources of in-flight conflict between strangers, second only to armrest disputes, which we will not get into today because this video would never end. Here is the psychology underneath the fury. When someone reclines into your space, your brain doesn't register it as a neutral mechanical event. It registers it as an intrusion. There's a well-documented concept in environmental psychology called personal space, first formalized by anthropologist Edward Hall, which describes the invisible buffer zone your brain maintains around your body. Violating that zone, even passively, even with a chair back, triggers a stress response. Cortisol ticks up slightly. Breathing gets shallower. You become subtly but measurably more agitated. And you can't leave. You're on a plane. You will be on this plane for 4 more hours. The chair is in your face. The person in it is asleep. What makes it worse is the asymmetry of comfort. The recliner gains maybe 15 degrees of additional relaxation. The person behind them loses a disproportionate amount of functional space. The math doesn't balance. One person improves their situation by a small amount. Another person's situation degrades significantly. And because the recliner can't see the consequences, their brain never registers the cost. Out of sight, literally out of conscience. Nobody is getting arrested for this. The button will remain. The 2 inches will be contested until either commercial aviation ends or humanity finally agrees on something, whichever comes last. Number 3. Multilevel marketing. Picture someone you knew in high school posting on social media at 11 p.m. about how they finally took control of their financial future by becoming their own boss. The photo features a ring light, a laptop showing a graph going up, and a collection of skincare products arranged with suspicious precision. They want to share an opportunity with you. They are not trying to sell anything. They just think you'd be perfect for this. What they are doing is multilevel marketing. What they are doing is completely legal. MLM structures for the uninitiated work like this. You pay to join, you sell products, but more importantly you recruit other people to join under you, and you earn a percentage of what they sell, and they recruit people under them, and the whole thing forms a pyramid shape that everyone involved insists is not a pyramid because the products are real. The products are real. The pyramid is also real. Both things are simultaneously true. The Federal Trade Commission has studied MLMs extensively, and the data is, to use a technical term, grim. Studies have found that the vast majority of MLM participants, in many cases over 99%, either make no money or actively lose money when you factor in required product purchases, starter kits, and participation fees. The people profiting are almost exclusively at the top of the structure, which mathematically can only be occupied by a very small number of people, because that is what the top of a structure means. And yet, the psychological architecture of MLMs is genuinely sophisticated. They deploy a dense stack of cognitive biases with the precision of a behavioral science research team. There's social proof. Everyone around you in the meetings seems enthusiastic and successful. There's sunk cost. You've already paid the starter fee, so leaving feels like admitting failure. There's identity fusion. The company's language encourages you to see the business as part of who you are, so criticizing the model feels like a personal attack. And there's love bombing, the immediate, intense community warmth that greets new recruits, which psychologists have documented as one of the most powerful tools of organizational retention. It's legal. It has lobbyists. It will be here tomorrow. And somewhere right now someone is being told that they just need to believe in themselves a little harder. Number 2. Designing apps to be addictive on purpose. Open your phone. Pick any app with a notification badge on it. Ask yourself honestly, did you decide to open it? Or did something in your peripheral vision just slightly hijack your autonomy and make the decision for you? Because there is a difference between those two things, and the entire business model of several trillion-dollar companies depends on you never stopping to notice it. App addiction by design is not an accident. It is not a side effect. It is a deliverable. There are entire job titles, engagement engineers, retention specialists, behavioral designers, whose explicit function is to make sure that the moment you try to put your phone down, something pulls you back. A notification, a red badge, an infinite scroll that never hits a natural stopping point, an autoplay video that begins before the previous one finishes. None of this happened organically. Every single one of these features was tested, iterated, be compared, and deployed because the data showed it increased the amount of time you spent inside the app. Your attention is the product. The app is the factory. You are doing unpaid shift work every time you open it. The mechanism underneath all of it is dopamine, which at this point has been explained so many times in so many contexts that it's practically a household word. But here's the specific version that applies here. Your brain's dopamine system doesn't actually fire when you get a reward. It fires in anticipation of a possible reward. The uncertainty is the key ingredient. Slot machines work because you might win. Infinite scroll works because the next post might be the interesting one. Pull to refresh works because maybe something new appeared in the last 45 seconds. The variability is engineered. The anticipation loop is engineered. Your dopamine response is being farmed with the same cold precision a casino applies to a slot machine floor, except the casino has to give you free drinks and you're just sitting in your bedroom at 1 a.m. refreshing for no reason you can name. Former engineers from major social platforms have gone on record in documentaries, in congressional testimony, in books, describing internal discussions about the ethics of these design choices while they were making them. The conversations happened. The features shipped anyway. Because engagement metrics went up, and engagement metrics are what determine whether the product is considered successful, and the product being considered successful is what determines whether everyone keeps their jobs. The incentive structure does the rest without anyone needing to be a villain. Here is what makes this legally airtight and morally slippery. There is no law requiring apps to have stopping points. No regulation mandates a natural end to a feed. No legislation caps notification frequency or requires apps to tell you how long you've been scrolling. A tobacco company has to put a warning on the package. An app that was explicitly designed using the same behavioral psychology principles that govern addiction has to put nothing anywhere. You just open it, and it gets to work. All of it legal. All of it documented. All of it happening right now on the device you're probably watching this on. Number 1. Planned obsolescence. You buy a phone. It works perfectly. It is fast and responsive, and you have learned where all the buttons are, which took longer than you'd like to admit. 18 months later, a software update arrives. You install it because the little notification badge said to, and you have been conditioned by number 2 on this list. And afterward, your phone is slower. Not broken. Not damaged. Just slower. Subtly. Persistently. In a way that makes you start thinking about whether it might be time for a new one. And it turns out, yes, apparently it is time for a new one. Conveniently, there is a new one. Planned obsolescence is the practice of designing a product with a deliberately limited useful lifespan so that consumers are nudged, pressured, or outright forced into purchasing a replacement. It is one of the oldest tricks in industrial capitalism, traced back at least to the 1920s when a cartel of light bulb manufacturers allegedly colluded to ensure their bulbs burned out faster so people would buy more bulbs. That story, known as the Phoebus Cartel, is real, documented, and should be significantly more famous than it is. The modern version is more sophisticated and more deniable. A company doesn't need to admit their software updates slowed your old device on purpose if the effect simply happens to occur naturally as a consequence of optimization for newer hardware. Apple actually settled a lawsuit over this in 2020, paying out hundreds of millions of dollars after admitting that software updates had throttled performance on older iPhone models. Their stated reason was battery management. The result was that people bought new phones. You are allowed to decide what you think about the gap between those two facts. The psychology of why it works is rooted in something called loss aversion combined with relative deprivation. Your phone doesn't need to be broken for you to feel like you need a new one. It just needs to feel slower than it used to, or slower than someone else's, or slower than the version they're advertising on every surface you look at. Your brain evaluates what it has not in absolute terms but in comparison, to the past version, to the social standard, to the marketed ideal. The goalposts move. You feel behind. You upgrade. The cycle continues and the landfill grows and the quarterly earnings report looks excellent. There are some right-to-repair laws beginning to emerge in various places. Some regulators are starting to pay attention. But for most of human consumer history, and in most places right now, you can legally sell someone a product that you designed to age poorly, push software that accelerates that aging, and then market the replacement to the same person who just lost faith in the thing they already paid you for. It is technically legal. It should, on reflection, absolutely not be. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.